In this week, we will study bonds and their valuation. Um, we will first study what is bond. For example, it is a legal agreement. It's an agreement of debt between the two parties, the bond issuer and bond holder, or the borrower and lender, with certain terms where the principal amount is mentioned, for how long this is a contract. For example, maturity period, then for 10 years or 5 years, coupon payment, yeah, interest payment, uh, and some other conditions which are mentioned there. So our basic objective of studying this chapter is to study how we can value, or how we can find the price of a bond. So bond valuation, uh, how bond valuation is done, we will study in this chapter. uh, we will then study the um, different types of bonds. For example, discount bond, par bonds, corporate bonds, foreign bonds, treasury bonds, mortgage bonds, junk bonds, and some other types as well. And then, as we know that the value of a financial asset is basically the present value of all the cash flows that an asset can generate. So bonds basically generates coupon payment, your interest payment, and the principal amount. When the bond matures, the face value, your principal amount, is again being paid. So then we will discuss certain uh, provisions which are uh, given in the bond contract. For example, call provision, so which gives the right to the bond issuer to call back the bond prior to its maturity, and sinking fund provision, where a provision in which the bond issuer can redeem a certain percentage of the bonds every year. And we will discuss. Uh, so, for example, here is the example of the bond valuation. So, value of an asset is basically the present value of all the future cash flows. Here, K represents the discount rate by which we are going to discount the cash flows. Um, uh, then we will discuss the uh, what happens to the price of the bond over time. We will discuss the two components when we purchase a bond and we sell it after, for example, 1 or 2 years. We will earn two things. One is the coupon payment or interest, and the other is the price when we sell the bond. So if we purchase a price at a price and we sell at a different price, there will be capital gain or capital loss, and we will also earn some interest. Then it is the uh, we call it as a current yield and capital gain yield. So we will find the total yield on a bond, which is the sum of price, capital gain yield, and uh, current yield. And then we will discuss the how to find yield to maturity and yield to call. That is basically simply the interest rate. For example, here in this equation, in this slide, we see that the interest payment every year is 90, and finally the principal amount, your face value, is being paid, and price of this bond today is $887. Then we can solve this equation for KD, discounted. This is yield to maturity, and in the same way we can find the yield to call. And then in this chapter we will study uh, how to calculate the price of the bond when coupon payment is not annual, rather it is a semi-annual. In actually, uh, in the real world, most of the bonds pay most of the corporations basically pay the coupon interest payment, which is on semi-annual basis. So we will discuss uh, how to find the price of a bond when coupon payment is annual or semi-annual, and we will also discuss the interest rate risk and reinvestment rate risk, since the when the interest rate goes up and down, the prices are affected. So there is a risk that is called as interest rate risk. We will study them at length, and then we will discuss the uh, bond ratings, how different rating agencies rate the uh, bonds based on their risk factors, and what are those factors on which bond rating is done. We will discuss them. So that is all about this bond valuation chapter.